I might have bitten off a little more than I could chew, but that apparently that's my specialty.
Hmm.
Yesterday I had 14 meetings, and I got the context switch between each one of them, and then do a live cast in the middle. I think I realized I'd probably done a little too much, so I unfortunately the Vibecast is gonna have to take a hiatus for a bit.
Yeah, it's understandable.
It's only so much time in a week. I keep trying to like bring down my hours from like 80 hours to something more reasonable, like 60. But no, it's just every time I reduce one thing, something else takes its place. In Ocean, how's your hive coming along?
Tab is going well. Trying to wrap up so that be ready for like 20, 30 folks from the community to try. That's like
Okay.
a alpha testing. I have a like a wait list right now.
Oh, you a wait list? I'm like the
Yeah.
opposite of a wait list and stealth. I put it all out there. It's like, oh, why doesn't it work? Well, that's your problem, not mine.
Well,
Works
I
for
gotta
me.
learn from LinkedIn because being here for so long, you don't need to have a product, but wait list is a must.
I don't. Well, I guess my appliance and chip has a wait list, but generally speaking, software, I just put it out there. I like the guys that show up and tell me they got a stealth company. I'm like, you're stealth. Oh, love it. What's yeah? I don't know about stealth. I'm the if there's a spectrum, I'm the opposite of stealth.
Rube, just one question on the Agentic Foundation. I know when we started, or when you started this, there was a talk about certifications and things like that. Is that still feasible?
Yeah, the Brad and the crew are working on that. Again, it's I just don't have enough time in the day to really be
Yeah,
too actively involved in that.
sure.
Um,
Okay, I'll speak to them.
Yeah, it makes sense to do it. I'm not. I'm gonna drop the ball if I do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I think I'm gonna take the plunge here today and finally rebrand my Claude Flow to Root Flow. Um, I even got an image now I can use thanks to Jose put together a nice little image for me.
Have they given you a hard time because it says Claude?
No, I created that like shortly after they came out with it. Like they own every French name ever. Like I'm gonna call mine what give me another good French name, you know.
Fair enough. Cool.
No, they never give me any trouble. They actually don't they don't really we don't have much of a communication other than the fact that there's like a 96 percent fidelity between what they built recently and what I built
Mhm.
previously.
Yeah,
Well, they can say things to Open Club because because they didn't copy Open Club. They won't say anything to you because they copied you.
Yeah,
It's not as of a
it's
good look.
I don't care. You can't complain when you give your stuff away. You can't complain about it being stolen. It's free and given away. So it's it's all good. But it was time to change. And I'm it's doing better than ever. I don't know, the whole GitHub thing. I've been trending on I think three different projects today in the top 10. So I'm doing something right.
it's crazy.
My inbox was insane. I've given up on the inbox. And apparently now you can't use Claude extension to manage your inbox anymore. I don't know what they did there. So now I got to find another tool to do that. Maybe I'll use Comet or something. Yeah, first world problems for sure.
Uh, Does LinkedIn offer API access? And then you
No,
can just read your
no, I can't. I do use it does work though. I just it's yeah, I don't know. LinkedIn's the other problem. These are all good, I guess, good problems to have. All right. Yeah, so I'm just gonna shut down, not shut down, temporarily pause some of these some of my extracurriculars. Not the Agentics Foundation, and we're gonna keep the AI hackerspace for sure.
So this meeting will stay, just the Thursday meeting stops.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's too much for me.
Yeah, no worries.
Maybe I'll occasionally do live casts. You know, they're kind of impromptu anyway, but it's just I get too much going on. With between all my existing consulting at launching a new semiconductor company and the Agentics Foundation, it's just and the Agentic Tribe. I'm just one guy.
Now we all appreciate that.
Yeah, I knew I was doing too much when I wake up in the morning and I'm tired. I'm not really a wake up in the morning and tired kind of guy. So I knew I was doing too much.
Yeah, we don't need you burning out, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I was reaching a burnout point recently. It might have been India for 2 days and then Portland and then all the project. You know, I was working on those flights, building things. It was a bit too much this month.
What you showing today?
What's that, Ocean?
What you showing today?
I don't know. What should I show? There's too much. I'm not even sure.
Have you made any changes to Claude Flow or to Revector that
There's
you know of?
you're talking the last like 3 or 4 hours?
Well, like a couple of days, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. How many like Revector is still my primary sort of lab, and I put out a ton of stuff. Like this week, I put out some things relating to a temporal time solver, which is pretty cool. It's super high speed, low latency sort of reasoning. I did a delta system yesterday. We on the live cast we did a delta sorry, like what was it that we created a federated learning system where we could have a shared brain. And I put out a new version of Agentic Flow and Agent DB with all the latest integrations of the Revector sort of RBF format. And that's just in the last day.
Do we drill through to that out of Revector?
Well, it depends if you're going top down or bottom up. If you start with Agent DB or Agentic Flow, you're starting in the middle. So yeah, that's that's kind of the place to be. So right now I'm working on I'm working on the launch or the rebranding of the Roof Flow with the most recent integrations with Revector in it. Was a kind of the big update.
Amazing.
Wasn't I wasn't sure if I should wait until this influx because I was trending on LinkedIn or whatever, or not LinkedIn, GitHub. I was wondering if I should wait until that subsides and then do it. I don't know.
So there was this great like crazy 1970s rock and roll magazine called Heavy Metal, and
Yeah.
they wanted to rebrand to HM, right? So they did it over the span of a year, but you could transition over a couple of weeks. Cloudflow, Bracket, Rooflow, and then
That's kind of what I was doing.
yeah,
So I launched the new package. Yeah. But at some point I just got to rebrand. I renamed the entire GitHub repo. And then, but the good news is GitHub auto redirects the old name so you don't lose it. It just redirects anyone going to the old URL.
yeah.
So I just got to get the courage to go ahead and do that.
A live switch over, I think they call it in the controls industry.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, top of the hour here. So I think we've been streaming already on LinkedIn, and I think, and we're gonna hit record. One sec, guys. Just gonna readjust myself for a moment. All right. All right, top of the hour. Let's do this. Recording everything you say will be used against you and held in a secret repository by a authoritarian government forever. So watch what you say.
Info.
Here we go. I'm not saying which authoritarian government, just to be clear. I'm sure there's some there. All right. We're at the end of February, 2026. Time keeps flying. This is supposedly the shortest month of the year, but I've done probably more in 1 month than I think I probably did all of last year. I managed to hit what was the Star Alliance elite level after like 2 trips. So
Hey,
there you go.
it's all about the
That's
points, baby.
yeah. I got enough to take my kids somewhere, I think.
Nice.
Right. So yeah, it's been another wild week in the world of agentic engineering. At least for me, it has been. How's it going, Rob?
Great, 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 great. Yeah, just crazy stuff left, right, and center. Wonderful. Today we've got Tomas is joining us from Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. Budapest chapter had their kickoff, their inaugural event there this week, and it was a great success. So he's gonna share some of the experiences there with us. And then Benson and I, we just got off a call with the Next App crew in Berlin. They are putting together a conference on mobile development in October, and they've asked the foundation to participate and help shaping what that some of that content might look like and different aspects of it. So Ben's is going to be talking about that, and it's a great opportunity for members that are really active in that space, AI and mobile. And then, wow, just had a wonderful, wonderful call. Matt's going to give us a rundown and an update, but we had just a wonderful call with TV5 Monde USA and Patrice, tip of the hat, Patrice Arsan Jean-Marie in the Paris chapter, sharing all of the really amazing stuff that members came up with during that 72-hour hackathon push to solve the challenge of reducing the amount of time it is to find something interesting to watch in a universe of content. So that was a really fun experience. So Matt's got some time to spend on that. And then I got a little segment, probably a little more technical. Yeah, and there's 4 lightning spots. So there is tons going
Nice.
on, that's for sure.
And I want to say a big shout out and thank you to Matt, who's been integral in sort of helping push the hackathon related work through over the last couple months. I know it's been a lot of work on Matt's shoulders to do that. I just want to make sure that a big thank you from all of us for all the work you've put in there.
And it was a
And the
grand
hack,
slam today. He did
yeah,
way to go, Matt.
Team
yeah.
effort. We all did it together. Thank
Well,
you.
you put a little, you put the most effort in, and it didn't go unnoticed, and I really do appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, we're gonna do more hackathons. I think that is a and you've been working on some hackathon related materials. I think that we all agree that we enjoy building things together. And if there was anything that is come, anything we're doing that's important, that for me seems like the most important sort of focus of what we could do as a community and whatever we are, crew. I don't know what you want to call us. But I love the idea of us building together, and as you probably are aware by now, these Friday calls inspire my development over the weekend to probably my wife's dismay. But anyway, yeah. So we get a variety of things to cover today. One of the things I want to talk about a little bit is the Vibecast. I know I kind of laid it out there last night and said I'm done with the Vibecast a little bit. Maybe we'll bring it back to life later, but I just can't do so much. And I was saying before the call started, I knew I was overdoing it when I wake up in the morning and I'm still tired. And that's not really a thing that I have. Like I get up in the morning generally and I'm excited to see what the world has to offer. And over the last, I don't know, week or two, I've just been sort of run down. And maybe it's the middle of winter, or maybe I'm doing too much, but I think I've been struggling to have that balance a little bit. Nope, it's getting a little mute. I'm gonna mute you guys 1 sec. So, and this is, I guess this is probably a good problem. All the things that we've been working towards seem to be executing really well, like in terms of projects blowing up and interest in the different things. It all kind of is happening all at once, and 2026 is shaping up to definitely be the year of agentic engineering, and not just agentic engineering, but I think our collective approach to agentic engineering, one that's light, cheap, edge-based, and available to all. And if that's our philosophy, that seems to be working. Now, the good news is it's working. The bad news is I think I might be the tip of the spear on the adoption of it. So it's all kind of coming on to sort of me. That said, I think we've got an opportunity collectively to spread some of that success, or whatever you want to call it, amongst our group. So there's a lot of opportunities for things like jobs and work and consulting, and just opportunities for us to kind of leverage our knowledge together to sort of benefit, financially, maybe is the way to describe it. And Chris and Matt in particular have been working to sort of try to solve that problem. Matt, and I'm not sure if Chris is on the call as well. What have you been doing on the job board and related work there?
Yeah, absolutely, including Nick as well.
Nick, yeah.
Yeah, we have been looking at a spectrum of different things. How do we take our existing members in the community and help serve folks that are coming to learn, but also want to keep the lights on, right? And then, and in addition to that, how do we take the website and extend it and create a proper applicant tracking system and the things that you need to reach out to partners and work with other companies, and then also looking at ways that we could understand the needs of the companies and create an entire flywheel and ecosystem that will not only help build the community and echo the things that you're building, Rube, but also serve the community in a way that like I mentioned at the beginning, keep the lights on, help people get jobs, help people network and come together and create an entire ecosystem, which also includes conversations on how do we, you mentioned hackathon at the beginning. Conversations on, we're all about innovation here, right? And so how do we innovate the potentiality of how someone gets discovered and hired?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's pretty clearly a huge opportunity for the Agentics crew here to, and not everyone necessarily wants a new job or needs a new gig, but for those that do, I think we have a unique place to do it now. Now there's some work still to be done, so we're always looking for volunteers to kind of help. I'd say the next big step would probably be some beta testing. Is that where we are?
Yes, we're right at that stage. And then I also will say, to your point, Ruth, not everyone wants a job, so we're also including potential contracts and short engagements and things of that nature. So the talent marketplace per se is not just for W-2 employees; it's also for shorter term work. And the way we title that contract or a hotshot job or what have you, we'll figure that part out. But I
Yeah,
wanted
and
to, yeah.
And just to be clear, I think you mentioned some sort of IRS number, but we've got a world of opportunities, and just because you're outside of the U.S. doesn't mean we don't want you. And the other thing I'm going to point out, this is very self-serving, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm in the midst of launching a semiconductor company, which is, I didn't think I'd ever actually say, but and I'm not interested in building a company with no employees. Like, what's the fun of working by myself in an office? I'm already doing that. I think that when I look at what we're going to build in terms of the work at Cognitum, is finding the right empowered people and building a superstar team. So over the next, I don't know, a couple months, I'm going to be hiring as well. Things are obviously going well in that front. So if for those who are interested, we'll start putting together a kick-ass GitHub, and I'll be looking at bringing a bunch of of you guys, if you're interested in working and collaborating on as part of our crew.
Way to go.
You're the first place I'm looking. Is what I'm saying.
That's right.
All right, Manjweep, how's it going? You're back. You're back in London.
Yeah, I'm back in London. I'm now at Edinburgh, actually. Someone's
Hmm.
interested to set up a chapter at Edinburgh, who told me. But the reason I call is to extend on the point that Matt and you were talking about, is that one is like, the jobs. The other one is to monetize the assets we have today more widely, because what is happening is that we are, you are, many people here, all of us are at the cutting edge, creating things. But in terms of the reality in the industry where people are this now talking about agentic AI and how they approach, there's a gap. There's a need for a translation layer. So
Hmm.
as much as we need developers and really solid, we also need marketing people who can communicate this message, people who can sell it, take it to the market, create value from it. So yes, everything is, for example, MIT license, but these are all frameworks which can be made relevant to industry. So I think there's an opportunity of exploring, like I'm talking, I had some chats with some members in the London community on this topic, like all of this collective knowledge, how do we take it to market? So there are, for example, niche boutique consultancies out there who are interested to say, right, we see our clients talking about them, they're talking about agentic payments, they're talking about agentic commerce, right? And I'm saying, hey, we have got this stuff here. So I think that's an area we need to look at to say, like, for example, agentic payments is a big thing, right, which was talked about today. So that's the only point I want to add to this conversation beyond just a job board. Because I think if we can sell a proposition, then to deliver the proposition, of course, will come consulting opportunities that this is the first place we would look for to fulfill that. That was the other
Yeah.
point I wanted to talk to. Yeah.
I love that concept, and I'm in a strange yet fortunate spot when it comes to consulting, which I think is unique, possibly, where by the time someone shows up and says, "I want to hire you," they've already drunk the Kool-Aid, and they're
Right.
like trying to convince me to work with them. I think if I can make everyone in this crew have that situation, it feels great, but I think you're all very close, if not already in that position, by doing some of the things that we're already doing. I don't know if we can productize that feeling or that process, but that would be amazing as well. Stu, how's it going?
Good. Perfectly following up on that conversation. So I talked to some people yesterday that talk with dozens of CTOs of software companies, and they are all looking for the next thing. They are
Yeah.
all looking for what's there and telling them, hi guys, use Claude Code and that'll be the answer to all of your productivity. We all know is not correct. There are
Mhm.
things, two standard deviations beyond that. We know because you've built them. And I agree that there is a phenomenal opportunity to start to market what you have built as, guys, what you really want is this technology. And what you really need are one of the 10,000 guys in the world that use this as opposed to the billion guys that tell you put all your stuff in ChatGPT and that's the answer. It's not. And I have some experience having built a job board in the past called theladders.com, which was fairly big in the US. And also, I've been in sales and marketing for the last 30 years with software companies. I, frankly, the whole reason I started doing the Ask RoofNet was to figure out how to make your stuff approachable to people so they could see why they should lean into this. Because, Roof, while they all want to hire you, the real opportunity is to get them to realize what we have here is the right architecture. And now they need the right people that are the on ramp to do that. If we could start doing that, this entire mission goes into high gear overnight.
And I love what you've done with this. I was showing we were looking at this yesterday. This is a kind of real time view of the sort of Roov universe, and you can click in here. You can see the different tools. I like the pink, and you can click on it. You can see a little information relating to it, teaching and AI security related work. It's really pretty and easy to use.
But that was for us. What I want to do is come up with the next set, which is what are the presentations we give to the CTOs of the world that say, where should you be going? I know you want to lean into AI, but why would you go with what you think is state of the art when real state of the art is two standard deviations beyond that? If you're going to teach your people tools, teach them the right tools. And it isn't whatever you're getting from Google or Anthropic right now. It's this. That I think positions this entire group of people. at the nucleus of where this is going, because they're immediately going to say, who the hell can I hire to help me go do this? Right?
Yeah.
Mark's already built classes on how to teach people your agentic system, right? So we've got people that we could teach what this looks like. We need the sales tools to help them understand why they need it. That, I think, is the next set of this. What do you think?
Yeah, I was having a similar conversation this morning earlier. I'm already on several hours of calls at this point, and it was I was getting a demo. Is a really cool demo of a new AI security platform built on top of some of my tools. And the real question isn't necessarily the ability to create these really amazing things; it's the ability to sell them, right? And it's the ease of which we can create is obvious, and we've got tools, but what hasn't changed is you still need adoption. You still need to sell within an enterprise. And most
Mhm.
of us aren't fortunate enough to be in a position where the CTO of some giant company shows up and is already, a fan or whatever. So that is a collaborative effort, I think is what you're saying,
Right.
right?
But
And if
honestly, Ruve, I've spent the last 40 years building enterprise software teams. I built them for Oracle. I built them for several companies we've taken public, several that we've hit a billion. That's my jam. I know how to do that very well. I would love to help this group get that to go set us up so that you guys all end up right in the chute of, oh my God, can you get me people who know this? Because that's when I think this thing gets productized, whether we give it away for free. I understand that's what you're doing. I think it's great. But I've got a meeting in 2 hours where I'm talking to somebody who talks to 60 of these guys a month. And he's incredibly enthralled by what I've built, and that's just what you've built.
yeah,
So that
and
this is cued to happen.
and I'm not just giving it away, but my here's just to reiterate my thesis. You know, software is easy, it's abundant, anyone can create it, anyone can take it, anyone can you make derivatives. I see something I like, I just point Claude at it and say, build me a version in the way I like it. Now, what I think is still defensible is the space between the software, the human that you need to sort of interact with it. Like it's not going to just magically work for everyone without some kind of human touch, which is us, the agentic engineer. And then there's also the idea of the physical object, right? And the physical world. So for me, if the final frontier, if you will, is that bridge between the digital world that I've been working in over the last several years, creating these things, and then the sort of physical manifestation of those things on little devices and chips and things like that. If you want to, it's still hard to sort of build physical things, right? So by taking some of the things we're building and putting it into a small device or whatever it happens to be, that the AI doesn't really work well outside of its own little digital universe, right? So we still act as the conduit between our physical reality and the digital reality that exists in the systems we're building. So if I can sort of state that in a way that hopefully makes sense, we are that bridge, the agentic engineer, right?
Mhm.
And we're
Mhm.
not going away. We're not getting replaced by, maybe we will eventually replace ourselves, probably. But for now, we are probably the most in-demand profession in the IT industry by far. And I'm not talking like a useless AI researcher. I'm talking the folks that are actually going to do the work, implement and change these companies. Now, the one thing I will point out, and you guys probably saw the Block notice, they apparently laid off 40% of their staff and said it's
Yep.
because of AI. Now, there's two ways to look at that, right? It's likely 50% BS and a kind of an excuse that they were using, which is fine, but it's not necessarily wrong either. And especially when you look at a company like Block, right? They've got these devices that sit in different stores and whatnot, and they got mostly software, right? All that software side of things, if they are adopting similar technologies to what we see on a weekly basis, those numbers aren't actually that off, right? So what they're likely seeing, if I don't know the company and I don't work with them, I'm just educated guess, they're probably using the same approach as we are to automation, and realizing that a lot of the things that were sort of bogged down in technical debt and the sort of old way of doing things, once you figure out that you can do an ADR and you can have memory systems and systems that can stay on track and can build on a very targeted and bound way, yeah, a lot of the traditional ways of software are going away. So what does that mean to all those software engineers that were just laid off? Well, I think it means that they should look at agentics and adopt these technologies to be the purveyor, the most influential person in the technology stack, if you will, hopefully. And I hope the people who were laid off realize that, because this is an opportunity, and it's easy for me to say, but I think it is an opportunity. But I don't know.
And that's
Is
the
there
mission, right, Roof?
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, it's part of a trajectory. It's an evolution. I was the same as all the I was saying I'm like every other programmer 3.5, 4 years ago. The only difference for me today is I've decided, well, in late 2022, that I wanted to be an agentic engineer, right? And prompt programming was the future. Programming with language was going to be the predominant way that you interacted with code and built systems. So I just have a slight head start, right? And what's also interesting while I'm blabbing here on a Friday is you can like chart my entire course from like the BS sort of specs I created, back in 2022, that basically outline these crazy things I wanted to build but couldn't build, to this point about a year and a half ago where suddenly I could start building all those crazy specs that I put together. And then I went from like these detailed sort of hypothetical things I wanted to build to, oh my God, I can build anything. And and you can just see it in my GitHub, which is the most interesting. You can basically track the evolution of AI and its capability by just looking at the move from BS to real. Anyway,
Awesome.
what do we got today? What do we got today? I haven't had a lot of prep. Yesterday, I worked on some updates. I've been moving towards launching the new version of Claude Flow, which will be Roof Flow. I'm just naming stuff after me. Whatever. Linus Torvalds can do it. Why can't I? Chris, how's it going?
Hey, I would like to share an update and a little bit about of a deployment I did on a piece of software. And here, I'll share my screen one
Sure.
moment here.
Let's. So for those who aren't familiar, Chris is our favorite vibe coder, right?
Yes, yes.
Hacking the multiverse every time you give us a demo.
All right. So
Lil,
released
zoom in a little
my
bit. Yeah.
OCR Providence MCP server as a npm package now, and the entire thing deploys as a Docker image, and within the image it manages everything, right? Databases. You can have as many SQL databases storing vectors and things that you'd want, right? And then tools to search and navigate through the Docker image, and it allows you to OCR. It gives the tools to the AI to clean data. Basically, it gives the AI a data cleaning pipeline that supports these 18 file types: PDFs, Word docs, CSVs, Excel files, PowerPoint presentations, images, PNGs, JPEGs, etc. Right? And then Gemini, after everything has been OCR'd by Data Labs, then Gemini looks at the images and then gives a description of the images, and that gets stored and embedded in a database, and everything has full provenance, and everything can be tracked back to its original location. And since it's in a Docker container, it runs on any system. And then the AI has tools exposed to it after all the data's been cleaned, after all your documents have been turned into text, and all your images have been described and stored with full provenance. Then the system gets search tools, to semantic search, BM25, fuzzy match, and just like different tools to navigate through the data to find answers to your questions, right? So it can tell you, this guy said this on page 394 of this 600-page grand jury trial testimonial, and then on this, financial record of this travel receipt, this happened, which goes against what he said or whatever, right? So, and you can just have different databases for different clients or different customers or whatever it might be, right? And you just tell the AI, go OCR this directory, and it scans the files, converts them to text, stores it all in a database, chunks it all, makes it all searchable, and yeah, basically allows you to get a bunch of intelligence on like these file types that are currently the AI can't derive that type of intelligence from, and like massive amounts, right? So if you've got, say, 10,000 of these document types, AI can't do a whole lot with it. But these tools give the AI the ability to clean all that and then start to make sense of all that intelligence and give you
Nice.
answers with direct provenance back to its location of wherever it derived its answers from. And then it's just a one command install. You do this npm install, you need Docker desktop and Node.js installed, and then it pulls in the Docker image and then connects the MCP to any AI agent, and then boom, you're up and running. And then you run this setup wizard, and all this does is just ask you for your two API keys, and then that's it. And then it's like right away working, bada bing, bada boom.
You
So
need to, Docker is 2 weeks ago, man. You got to do RBF, like one file to rule them all. Like you get this.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
perfect. You can do the UI, you can embed all your embeddings. Now, remember when you're doing the OCR, this is important to that you need to,
mm,
verify both your embedding and the final result. If you just blindly assume your embeddings are correct, you're going to get weird drift, especially with OCR related apps.
no, I've done a lot of benchmarking and testing and verifying that the things are working correctly, etc.
Cool. Well,
I
sounds
see.
sounds awesome.
So,
Yeah. So
so
what's you shared the link somewhere?
Yeah. I'll share the link and I'll share the GitHub repo too. And there's like a setup video or whatever, but it's like super simple, just one command install.
So one thing I was wondering yesterday, because Chris, this seems like it would solve a big problem. Tons of businesses have
Solves
lots
a
of
lot of big
PDFs
problems.
that want to
Hmm.
turn that into a knowledge base. And if you can
Exactly.
use that and the RVF and turn it into a chat with your world in a way that's much more intelligent, and the stuff's stored in root vector, it's pulled out intelligently, recency factor, whatever the thing is that allows you to do that, that would be a really, really valuable thing to
Yeah,
be
it's
able to
got its
put
own
out as an
memory
agentic
system.
solution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Go install it and play with it and instantly the OCR and takes some time. Like Data Labs has like rate limiting of like 5 documents a minute or something, right? So like when I did a 1,200 document legal case, it took like 5 hours for it all to process. But once it's processed, then the system can just work. Here, I'll kind of show you like what that looks like real quick. Here.
Well,
Okay, so
while we're well,
like I'll just tell it to just like look at some data and then well, and then you can just see the AI just like using the tools and navigating through like a data set, and and then also like there's some really cool stuff here. So like if like the AI returns like too much data, like it does like a search and like right here it returned like 480,000 characters, well then all that information just got saved in like a text doc, so it can then like then just navigate through that or whatever, right? So to try to manage the huge amounts of text and things available. But you can see it can use the tools like super fast, right? And it just like searches through everything with all kinds of really cool search tools. Okay, I'm done.
Nate,
oh
thank
well,
you,
well,
Chris.
if we're in the process of showing off OCR tools, sorry, Chris, I can't help myself, because I've got a tool for
Do
every
it.
What you
occasion.
got? What you got, Ruben? What you got?
So one of the biggest challenges you're going to have with especially like highly technical OCR is when you start looking at things like an MRI or a blueprint for a building or scientific related scribbles on a chalkboard and things like that. So the traditional OCR is looking at text. It's looking at text on a page and then converting that. I'm like, what if I could create an OCR that doesn't look at text, but looks at conceptual structure, things like latex and mathematical formulations, complex, diagrams, medical, illustrations, and things that involve like, how do I go from like a brain scan to understanding what that brain scan represents? So that's what I built with the SciPix system. So what this does is it uses OCR as well, but it's written obviously in Rust. And the approach here is purely looking at creating a space that understands the structure of everything other than text. It can do text obviously as well, but it's meant to do that in a sort of hyper optimized sort of vector space, self-contained. So now I've got this OCR container, no Docker, no secondary requirements. I can package this single file up as an RVF format. That means I can include a runtime that's optimized specifically for understanding the information that exists within that particular document. So think PDF for intelligence. And this is the mechanism of ingesting that intelligence. So, I slap an MCP server on it. Now this is hyper optimized. Like I did a test and I was able to do, I think, 50 million documents in about a minute. So it's optimized to like just, pound the hell out of it, right? No, I can't wait 5 hours personally. Sorry, Chris. So that, but what you're doing, Chris, maybe we can combine some of this stuff and
Well,
see where
I
that.
was like playing Reuven with like local models or local running OCR with because I wanted it to be like super good capabilities with like not requiring system power on the end user. Right. That's why I went with more like the APIs. But yeah, like with my like GPU and stuff locally, dude, I could have blazed through this and probably made a much better
Oh, but
thing to
yeah,
do.
this
But
this is not GPU. I don't use any GPUs. That's CPU. And keep
yeah.
in mind that the GPU for at least for what I'm doing it's overkill.
Well,
Next thing I want to show you guys, I've created a whole bunch of different sort of RBF appliances. Everyone's like, oh, you got this RBF format that can do all these things. I need to do a better job of the README, but point Claude at this particular folder, and you're going to see a whole variety of different sort of pre-compiled RBFs, including custom Linux kernels, embedded dashboards. You can see I got a dashboard example in here. I did a Hugging Face integration where you can do like the Hugging Face chat. So you want to chat with your random data. Oh, now this is an Easter egg, I guess, because I should probably do a
Nice.
README that outlines a little bit what it is. Easter's coming up, right? So, but if you're really interested in this format has been for my work over the last since I built it 2 weeks ago, changed everything. I'm now shipping these little tiny RBFs. I can package everything up into a tiny little piece and have it run anywhere. It's been actually kind of transformative for the work that I'm doing. So if someone has an MRI scan and I can then embed the actual computing system that says what does it mean and how does it operate, like a Python or Rust or whatever format I need it to be in. And then I can share the vector-based implementation of the MRI scan that takes that MRI and then makes it useful by understanding structurally what it means. And that's all a single file, and then I can tie that into an SSO, so it can integrate with a medical environment. Again, single file. It's
I mean,
actually if you're looking at what I'm doing, this is it. This is the sort of culmination of everything in a single file. Sorry, was a question I heard for a moment?
I just said amazing. There's several use cases where we're putting it into play with right now. It's remarkable to be able
Well,
to package and display and interact with that
just
speed.
to clarify, did you say RVF or RCF?
I know. RVF is actually someone else's rich view form. I don't even care. I use RV for like components, right? So if it's a main application, I generally go with like Ruve or I give it some agentic something or other naming. And then for sort of like various components, files, and structure, I use RV. So you'll see things like RV lights and RVF, which is a file format. So I do have a bit of a naming convention to the things I'm creating. But this is essentially the package format. I'll pop the link in the text area here if you're curious. Again, just point Claude at it. But oops, did I actually send you the wrong repo? It's a cool repo I sent you to, but whoops, wrong. I think I sent you the wrong repo. No, I did. No, you're good. Too much crap in there. So yeah, and it'll run it's the core file format for what I'm running on my chip and on my appliance. So rather than shipping a sort of, Linux image, I'm using my RVF format, and that allows me to make it super small and optimized specifically for my particular silica. So anyway, that's the core of my crazy.
Roof,
Alejandro.
Yeah.
how are you doing, guys?
Good.
Roof, I was playing around with the roof vector yesterday, and I noticed it's computing everything with this file, with this protocol. I'm gonna put it on the chat so you can check it.
Sure. Yeah. And by the way, thanks for creating that image. Earlier. I think it was you, right? Wasn't it? The roof
I
flow
don't think
image?
it's me. No.
No? Too
What?
many Jose's. I figure it was you. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
no, no.
Alexandra. Sorry.
Yeah. With this protocol, right? So, and
Mhm.
then it's not hash. I'm guessing you actually did it for speed.
Well, where did you share?
In the chat, you're gonna see the protocol is actually computing everything on, right?
For
It's
are you talking about my debt?
XH3-1 to 28.
I don't see it in the chat. Maybe
No.
share your screen, maybe.
Okay. I mean,
There's a balance between random crazy stuff I've invented and
sorry, there you go.
specifications.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that is a protocol, like the handshake, how everything is being computed under the hood. I was looking at that yesterday, right?
Mhm.
And interestingly enough, I think it's using for speed, but it's also saying that it's using the checksum algo, but it's ignoring that. I wanted to tell you because I think it would be worthwhile to actually go point it that code and see what it's doing for speed, because it's not actually doesn't have any cryptographic hash in there. So it may actually be
Well,
it might be
I'm
easy
already
to
on.
temper.
I'm already on it.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that particular specification, so I
Okay.
can't comment on it. But I will be familiar with it in about 5 seconds.
There you go.
I just there's
Yeah, because
for
if it actually gets deployed in a massive scale, this might be a little issue for it. So
according to this, the XXH3 is used in two places. My RVF wire. Now this speaks to exactly the problem you have when you build so much stuff. It's like, oh, you're using this tech, and apparently I'm using it all over the place. I didn't even know it was in there. So that's the vibe coder's dilemma here, I guess. But yeah, so apparently here we're using it inside the RVF wire structure. So the wire structure is how I communicate directly between essentially the silica, the raw compute, and the system. And it looks like we're using some kind of checksum and use a 64-bit variant. All right.
yeah, but
What?
that is the thing. When in runtime, it's actually it exposes the checksum, but it actually ignores it, and then it's computing everything with that XXH3-128.
Okay. How can we
I think it's for velocity, but I don't know. It might be
optimize this
a security
further?
issue there.
And review. Okay, so we're going to review security
Yeah.
and create a new ADR and branch. All right, I'm going to follow that rabbit hole. I'm not sure where what that rabbit hole is exactly, but we'll find out here in a minute. So you think there might be some security concerns around it?
Yeah, but again, I believe like the way you look at this, you build it for the edge device, right? The IoT that you're deploying, right?
I'm building it for two purposes. I'm building it for super low latency, so I'm taking advantage of sort of the ticks that exist within a CPU, or optimized SIMD, so optimizing specifically for non-GPU type applications. The side effect of that approach is I get native sort of bare metal access, which then I can optimize for as well, which is my bridge into the idea of semiconductors, right? So I can create these WASMs. I can then, if I get the WASM small enough, I can then directly integrate the WASM into the silicon of the chip itself, and then which makes it reprogrammable. And as far as I can tell, there aren't any real reprogrammable chips out there, like truly reprogrammer at a wire speed. So I needed a wire protocol. And on the I've got a different wire protocol for the actual chip. I didn't open source that. Sorry, I don't open source everything. But that is absolutely insane. And that's using a 33-bit wire protocol. Now, one of the things you're going to notice about a lot of the things I do is I like sort of working in a combination of 3, 5, 7-bit integers. I have a preference towards prime numbers. And then I use a constant. I wrote about this last night on LinkedIn. I use a constant of pi. All those things work together to create a kind of native harmonic within the structure of the systems that I'm building. So it avoids this kind of drift that you sometimes get when using a quantized approach, meaning when you think of like a grid pattern, when the numbers align up nice and neatly, you can shrink the information, but that creates a kind of resonance or harmonic that then repeats certain errors throughout the entire system. All back to everything. The reason I'm mentioning this is when you look at some of the wire protocols, if you're into wire protocols, they're always attempting to use a combination of preferably an odd number or a prime number along with a known constant, and that creates this kind of magical harmony between the two. And I'm sounding like a magician, and I know it sounds weird, but if you're looking to go down this rabbit hole, that's what you have to explore a little bit. I'm totally going off. Yeah.
Essentially, the only thing is that the XXH3, it doesn't have a cryptographic hash, right? When you're doing the communication on the computing for all the other algorithms. And
yeah.
Maybe, did it get back to you anything yet, Rolf?
Yeah, it did. I'm gonna attempt to take a look here.
How about if we roll back to that after into the open session, guys? Is that okay?
Yes. Let's come back to that.
Yep, awesome. We've got so I forgot that Ocean. Sorry, Alejandro. Thank you. I forgot that we had Ocean as well. And Ocean, sorry, I thought you've got the demo ready. So I misunderstood your words. Always great. Let's see what you've got.
All right, thank you. So I'm just going to share the screen. I'm actually doing two things right now because Ruth mentioned about the Access H3, so I'm just asking a question on the side. So let's see what it come up with. I was saying, look it up and then see what that is. And then how does it compare to whatever we have built in Kive? So today's a brief introduction to what Kive is. Kive is the Rust-based AGI infrastructure layer that is I'm trying to put to the application layer. And Lion itself is a formally verified microkernel for capability bounded auto reasoning. Today's demo, so I ran 2 workflows. The topic was 6 on it, build me a end-to-end front-end back-end workable app for option pricing and trading. And then one is with Kive tooling and one is without Kive tooling. So without telling you what is what yet, let's take a look at this. This is all one shot. It's just like 6 on the pipeline. So you get a little overview. I think this is real data. You get an option chain. I'm pretty sure the option chain is made up, but it has some strategies and then Black-Scholes calculator. And then this thing, I put it up. This one is a bit slow. I put it up a while ago, so we can come back to see how it works. And this is the other one. This is the other one that was wrong. I'm not telling you which one used the Kive tooling. but you can see the difference in the result in the same orchestration pipeline. So from a simplistic perspective, let's take a look at what strategy it is recommending. So one, we have a covered call, cache secure put, and protective put. And the other one is still loading, the Apple. And then how about let's take a look at NVIDIA stuff. But the long story short is they are the exact same orchestration pipeline. They use the exact same configuration. The only difference is whether or not I ask them to use Kive tooling as a mandatory requirement. And this one is the one did not. This is the one they used. And this one took 720,000 tokens. This one was 520,000 tokens. And it is giving me a thing that looks I potentially can be used versus this is a cool agentic pipeline demo. And that is one of the features of Kive. Thanks. Roof, you're muted.
Nice work, Ocean. And your UI looks great, by the way. And this is the new Rust implementation you've been using or building, or is it pipeline?
No. This is just an experimentation. This is one shot. Like one shot to say with Kive tooling, without Kive tooling, how will we look like, the difference from the productation. This is one shot. Last night, I just like run this experimentation and then so I can show it tomorrow. And then it showed me this 2 sites when I woke up.
Wow.
So those are, under the hood, there are about 50,000 or even more very curated domain knowledge that I have made into a database. And then so when the agents are working with in here, I ask them to runtime compose the expertise they need. Therefore, the actual strategies, the option pricer, for example, the graph, the data, and then even like when you change date, the projection of the P&L, those are actually referred with pretty good expertise. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, given the context-aware domain expertise injection can greatly impact the quality of the final output, especially in a long enough agentic pipeline. The final output is night and day. This is something professional I can imagine useful. This really is not. And then it is just, it looks cool, but it is not something useful at all.
We've got a NeuroTrader WhatsApp group if you're interested, and there's a whole crew working on a new. I think Kobe was actually leading the effort in the design. If you should collaborate with these folks. The one thing I will point out, as now that I've done a couple hundred of these NeuroTrader deployments, the move from paper to real is a weird one. So almost always, whatever you did in your paper trading, I don't know why, even though paper trading hypothetically is going to be sort of represent real world assets, just not with real money. There's some kind of weird sort of difference between going from paper to real money. And the most important thing you're going to notice in terms of the long horizon apps of what you're describing here happens in around 3 to maybe 5 days in. You're going to see a drift. And what's important in the long horizon AI, especially for neurotrading related activities, is making sure that the system doesn't learn what happened last week is applicable to what is going to happen next week, especially with trading.
Let me just walk
it's in self-learning.
Let me just say a tiny bit here. So first, to go back to the XXH3. So I was asking to compare whether that is applicable to my stack, and then it says we use Blake 3. It is very different, and then it is not a replacement, but potentially complement. Anyway, so we're on the live stream now. Does curated domain knowledge actually matter when AI building software? So that was the topic I was going to. Like, if you give them process, say, here are some math theories. Does it help with working on the app that's like a whole new one? So that was the answer. I will look into so this is entirely a one-shot experimentation. It was not something I designed. I will look into a NeuroTrader thing though. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. Nice work, Ocean. Love what you're doing. I love your experiments too. I'm excited. I'm excited to see all your developments every time you demo here. Yeah, if you're not part of that neural trader group, I'll dig out the link. But you would be a great addition if you're into this sort of thing. There's I think 60 or 70 people in there at this point.
Okay,
Oh,
hi.
by the way, I do have waitlist open for that. I just dropped it in the chat.
Nice.
Ocean, what was your conclusion? Sorry, you said something about it doesn't matter. What was the conclusion?
The conclusion is with domain knowledge, injected at the right time that is contextual aware, you are using about 20 to 30 less tokens while having a actual usable thing.
Mhm.
All right.
The reason paper trading is more interesting than or different than the real world is the real world, there's a real market. You actually need to
No,
have buyers and sellers. It's almost a
paper's real.
competition.
Well, yeah, you're right. Paper is sort of kind of real. It's like it's like you're trading against a hypothetical a little bit with real data on one side and no counterparty on the other. And that's I think what you mean. It's like, okay, I made a bid. I did a call, whatever it happens to be that I'm doing, and then the system's kind of faking the response beyond the fact that the price went up or down in the last 5 minutes.
Right. It's like a business simulator saying I could sell 100 hamburgers if I add more barbecue sauce. But in the real world, maybe people don't want that, or there aren't that many people.
Yes, supply side, demand side, kind of. The paper trading doesn't show supply and demand particularly well.
Yeah.
So that could be the reason. But once you do, again, the biggest takeaway, and this is in the idea of long horizon agents. Agents that, I often have a tendency to look at agents that run for a nanosecond, but when it comes to like stock trading, agents that run for weeks without ever ending. And I'm not talking open claw. I'm talking agents that actually do and make real value. The biggest challenge that I see is drift. And over the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that it learns really well, but the challenge is adapting the learnings, right? So not only has it learned, it then can take what it's learned and apply it in new and interesting ways. So, and to do that particular to solve that particular problem, of course, I published something that would address that as well, and that was something I called domain. What the heck did I call that? Let me find it for you guys. But this is a domain transfer. So what this does is basically it acts as a kind of a self problem solver, if you can kind of think of it that way. Domain expansion. So it takes what's learned from one thing, and that thing can be completely different than the thing it's being applied to. So let's say it's learning how to do stock options, and then it needs to do, I don't know, a sports betting, right? Somewhat adjacent, but pretty different, right? Sports betting is going to look at like, is someone going to score, a 3-point shot in the next 5 seconds versus, is the correlation of the stock versus something else, a valid thing to buy in the next 5 minutes. So, but turns out there's a lot of sort of things that can be shared in terms of the learning. So, but what this does is provides a mechanism, one, to define a learning scope across different tasks, and then transfer those learnings over time. So the agent has been running for a month. It's learned all these things, and then it can share the seed and between domain A with domain B, which got me thinking, like when you start looking at this idea of kind of transfer learning and drift detection and all the things that we've been sort of talking about over the last couple of months, that would be the basis of probably what we're looking at when you think about AGI. The ability to learn by itself, the ability to self-organize and change its mind, and then share that learning with some other entity that's working alongside of it, be it a human or another agent, right? Those are all the kind of characteristics of a sort of self-improving, generally intelligent system. So moral of the story is, if you want to create a system that exists more than for an ephemeral moment, you need something that provides the ability for it to have a kind of self expansion. And that's why, and this particular tool that I'm showing you, this was, I don't know if you tuned in last week, I briefly showed you that planet finder. This is what actually allows it to find the sort of the planets and the Dyson spheres, because it's applying sort of this mixture of different learnings across different patterns, and then saying, how can I discover other things that might be adjacent or related, but or completely unrelated to it. This is what made it work. That's how I found all those planets, which is
Hey,
a
Ruth.
random Thursday. Yeah.
Just real quick on that topic, and you mentioned pi earlier, and I saw that post last night. It's interesting that when you're transferring between domains, if you go directly to a different domain, then you essentially haven't established a centroid yet. And so when I've noticed that something like an abstraction ladder works best to transfer learning across domains, where there's actually a core primitive principle underlying the lesson that was learned, and it's instead of being applied directly to the other domain, it's reduced to that primitive and then re-expressed across into a different project. And then you have a constraint point on the core primitive, meaning as an abstraction layer you can anchor against, kind of like your I mean, it converges on something like pi, for instance, in your framework, or just natural language concepts.
Yeah, you just explained my diagram perfectly. So what you're saying, I completely agree with. It's this idea of a kind of, I don't even I'm not even sure how to explain it. You actually explained it better
like
than I did.
Universal
This kind of,
invariant.
yeah, a stepped. So I've got these steps, right? And the steps provide a mechanism for a kind of like, here you go. You should take this because you're more capable of doing it, or this is something that's not important. I'm going to put it in the background. And so in the general structure, this is what it kind of looks like. So and you got this kind of, here's another sort of little diagram. I know you can see I do a lot in genomics lately, but so I'm taking a genomic sort of structure, and then I'm applying it to like drug design, right? They're adjacent, obviously, but they're different because one's using the idea of proteins and pattern and folding of the structure, and the other is like, how does that interact with me as a human? So they're closely related, but they're structurally quite different. So what this allows me to do is then take those and apply those in a kind of mixture of domains, and then discover the undiscovered parts of those domains by doing that kind of mixture. And you see here where my scientific OCR comes back into play here. This is what provides the sort of the integral part of the piece.
Hey,
one last.
Can I just ask, guys? We got just about 4 or 5 minutes left, or 3 minutes left. Can we invite Tomas on to cover the book list, and then we can roll back into the open session?
Rob,
Tomas,
keeping us grounded.
Got you there? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in a sort of diatribe mode today. My apologies.
No, there's a ton of cool stuff. I just want to check and see if Tomas is still with us.
I think that he has to go. Be the kids.
Okay, well, Benza, you were there.
Yeah, so yeah, he told me to if he can't make it, I will do it. Yeah, just very quickly, we had a very great event, almost 100 people, and there was two very interesting lectures or presentations. One is for Robert from Fireflies, the note taker, and he described how they work at Fireflies. It's amazing. It's completely agentic. They've got unlimited budgets for new tools, all the team members, so everybody is open to. He's messaging me that in 2 minutes. And the other one is from GitLab, Victor from GitLab, and it was completely eye-opening. And people are really interested. They want to present for the next one. There were people from Poland and Slovakia physically traveled there to the event. So and T-Mobile employees were present from the engineering team. So it's a very, very, very good experience.
Nice. Yeah, it was a big crowd.
Big crowd. Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about Berlin as well.
Berlin, yeah, there's the mobile. So we are searching actually for people who are deep into mobile development, either Android or iOS or Edge. So they would be interested in a panel discussion or workshops, presentations. Very, very open, very friendly bunch of organizers.
Yeah, that's the next step team. They're putting together the conference in Berlin in October, and they've come to the Agenix Foundation to open the conversation about having us participate in the panel for selecting the actual speakers in the workshops and helping construct and guide to ensure that the AI mobile development content is on point and aligned with what's possible on the frontier side.
Yeah, Tomasz is here actually, Rob. So he managed to come back.
Ah, fantastic, Tomas.
Hi, Rob. Hi, thank you. Sorry, right now I'm in the middle of our family time, but more than happy to share
Wonderful.
details about event. So yeah, we were quite happy. Audience between 80 to 100. So probably next time we need a larger venue. Both speakers, audience were quite happy. We have very great feedbacks from Robert, the first speaker, second one Victor, and the audience after the evening, after the event in the evening, yesterday, today, we received more messages about okay, what is the next step? What is the next event? Yeah, it was a great initiative. A lot of questions after the talks. It was very important and interesting rather than just a few questions, more dialogues and conversation rather than questions. So I think, and my take on it, it was a very humble and great beginning. So we can't wait for the next one. Probably we will launch live and the stream section as Bence doing with the London chapter. So yeah, I'm very impressed and I'm very happy. And of course, I have to mention that my co-organizer Balázs. So yeah, I think great work, and it was very great to see you, Colin and Bence. So yeah, this is a story in a nutshell. But if you have any question, just let me know. So thank you again to could be chapter lead here, Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah, and thank you for putting it all together. Really do appreciate that. And maybe you and I will get to meet in person when I'm.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds like
I'm
going to Hungary. Right.
I know. I contacted Rob about this, so just let us know when you be around Budapest. I'm more than happy to meet in person and doing something great.
And I'm bringing my my son
Cool.
Finn as well. He'll be 16, I guess, in June. And so the thing he's most concerned about, he's like, will anybody have a guitar?
Yes.
So we need
Lots of
apparently
guitars.
we need to find an acoustic guitar that he can borrow. Apparently, he can't go a week without an acoustic guitar. Like that, of all the problems you're worrying about, will there be an acoustic guitar? It never even occurred to me that that would be a problem. But okay, his preference is Martin, but don't worry about that.
Hungary is the place for acoustic guitars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
I will manage this.
Yeah.
He'll do a smashing rendition of "Creep" by Radiohead or some other '90s acoustic, which is a chip off the old block, I might add. But yes, I digress. Really excited for what you're doing there. I know Dragon's is going to be joining us. I think in June. Is it June, Rob?
June, yes, yeah. Probably somewhere in the beginning of June. I don't know, craft
June
conference.
2nd, it's June 2nd to 5th, but the events, workshops, and talks are 4th and 5th. So yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there the first week of June.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing workshops and sort of introductions to all the things. It's going to be kind of a live vibe, coding session. So anyone that's, willing to, and as far as I can tell, Hungary is very affordable, right? It's
You are right. Yes, you are right. Yeah. Let's talk before and just DM me. And if you need any kind of help, like acoustic guitar or something like this, just let us know. We have a lot of acquaintances right here. So we will manage this kind of situation. So more than happy to help you.
Yeah,
hopefully Nick's coming too, I think.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Oh, guitar. Yeah. What a
great
emoji.
Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
Tomas. Way to
Thank
go.
you.
First kickoff inaugural event, huge success. So many great people there. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you again.
And we are organizing ourselves for Vermont in a couple weeks. Sounds like we got a nice little turnout showing up. Now, I don't know if Mark's on the call, but we got Stu, who's, kind of, our independent connection here. A bunch of people were saying it's kind of expensive and so on. Looks like there's other accommodations nearby. And I don't think anyone's going to kick up a stink if you just show up, to be honest, in Vermont. I'm talking for Mark, and I'm probably overstepping my bounds here. But if you're interested in showing up, I'm sure we'll figure a way to accommodate. Again, it's the biggest ski town in the Northeast, so there's lots and lots of Airbnbs and that kind of thing around.
And we would love to have you there. I will tell you, I'm not bringing skis. I'm not even bringing outdoor wear. I'm going to meet you guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are. I'm coming up, driving up from New York with 2 others on this group just to meet everybody there. So there'll be a lot of folks that are there really just to meet this group, get together and see what we can do in person and how we can help take these missions forward.
Now we do have a couple of people that have reached out saying that they might want to show up that are staying somewhere else or driving in. Is there someone that we could communicate that with?
Yeah, just reach out to Mark Allen directly.
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have his contact, Brad?
I've got it somewhere. I'll shoot. I got yours though, Stuart. So I'll
Yeah,
reach out to
I
you.
put my Popple, which is my contact. If anybody wants to reach, because I don't have a way to reach out to you guys outside of chat and this, which is ephemeral. So if there's, I'm assuming that the Discord or something is the best.
Yeah, let me share the Discord. The WhatsApp's a little problematic because we maxed out our group, but we do have a Discord. I shared. Let me find the address. Discord.gentix.org, I think, is the address. I'll make sure that works. Yep, and I'll share that with you right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'll coordinate with I'll let Mark know, but I know there's been a few others that have said that they might be interested in coming up for a day or crashing or.
I think Leandro is going to head down and yep.
Yeah, we might have a road trip from the Toronto area, Rob.
For sure.
That'd be awesome.
It's a bit of a haul. 7 hours. I looked at Google Maps, and that assumes I don't get the 4-hour treatment at the border.
Well, Tom, you're Canadian.
Yeah,
everyone has to watch the movie Vacation before they go for a road trip.
Tell them you rooted for the U.S. hockey team. They'll let you in. It'll be fine.
Unless they have a lie detector.
I do have a lie detector. It's amazing.
And it's open source.
To be honest, that's probably why I have problems at the border.
Listen, guys, Mark put this together to make it available for all of you. And I understand he's got a business to run and he and his wife run the B&B and all of that. So it has to do its own thing. But he's really putting this together for everybody here to be there.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing.
And we really do appreciate the work that Mark has put into this. I know he doesn't have to do any of this. And Mark's a really interesting guy as well. He's a doctor. So when I'm doing my some of my crazier stuff with sort of the biohacking, I always ship it off to Mark to tell me how bad is this and how much trouble can I get in kind of question. He's always happy to help. The other thing I'm gonna do at this particular event is I'm gonna have a bunch of my devices. I'm gonna bring those with me, and we're gonna hack some stuff in person, or maybe some people as well. So for those who are interested in the sort of more physical elements of Agentix, that'll be a chance to actually plug in and see it working in action, which will be exciting.
I'm going to bring a portable Starlink. If anybody else has portable Starlinks, be sort of helpful.
Someone wants to pick up mine, you can take it with you.
Hey, do we need more than one? What kind of bandwidth is on the thing?
Yeah, Mark's got pretty good Wi-Fi there.
Until we show up.
Yeah.
And granted, but I've spent weekends there and we've done nothing but code. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
Drew, about the devices, when is it going to be available? You said there was going to be a pre-launch that we could do the pre-launch or something like that. The chips, the apps, basically.
Yeah, so a couple problems. Not interest is not one of them. I've yet to incorporate a actual company, which is funny. I got a product, I've got thousands of people signed up, and I haven't even incorporated. I won an award apparently. And so I'm targeting next week, on Tuesday, to actually incorporate. It's a meaningful day. It's the third of the third, and on the 26th, and also is my daughter's birthday. So I think that'll be the date of incorporation. That means I can get a bank account and I can get Stripe working. All the things that you can't get until you're incorporated. So where Ocean was saying, he's got a wait list and all that sort of stuff. I'm building a semiconductor company in public, which I don't think anyone's ever done before. So I'm moving a little bit faster than the world of lawyers and whatnot. So we're close. We get some fancy Valley firm putting everything together. It's got a company called Wilson Sansini. I'm
They're
sure that'll
great.
be it.
They're,
Yeah,
they're
so
very good.
they're leading the
You can
effort.
do the incorporation with Stripe as well. It's called Stripe Atlas, and so you're all set up with Stripe and incorporation at the same time.
Right,
Yeah,
but trust me, use Wilson. I've used them before for several IPOs. They're very, very good.
Yeah, so they're leading the effort. They're also going to do a bunch of my patents, and yes, I need to have patents. So
Hey, good stuff.
I'm launching with 257 prime number patents. That's
great.
Have you ever? Yeah, so it was either 253 or 257. 257 had a better ring to it, so I had to dream up a few more patents. But yeah, that's all happening. It's a whole convoluted series of companies because it's a semiconductor company, and there's like export limitations and this and that and the other thing. But I think I've managed to get through most of that, and we're hyped to get this thing going. We got some huge partners, including the CTO of a major chip company is advising us, and several other big name CEOs of very large tech companies. So I've been very, very fortunate in this whole weird endeavor that I found myself in. But I'm excited to share it with everyone on this call.
Anything we can do to help, Roof?
No, well, in about a month, I'm gonna have the first these Pi Zeros out the door. So I'm gonna ship these Pi Zeros to the early backers. This is basically Roof Vector on a device. It's meant for sensors. At which point, I think we start hacking on them. Like I'm gonna have an app store, and I'm gonna, the idea is, a lot of the people who are showing up basically they don't want to create like vertical applications on the device because it's, again, as I was saying earlier, it's more defensible sometimes when you have something you can hold. Where something that's vibe coded in an afternoon is not that it isn't valuable, but sometimes it's less defensible.
Yeah,
like this can sit in a doctor's office kind of thing, or whatever.
Roof, I just want to, because you said on the Roof Vector side of it, on the drift point, right? I'm trying to get my hands to actually create something. Like I started with the bird song thing on the roof thing, the RVF format. I've yet to train it, as you said, which I will do. But in terms of getting Roof Vector to you, do you think drift is still a problem? Like if I create something and it learns, obviously, is it like is it more for like, does it have to be I'm just wanted to get a view on this. Is drift still what kind of a problem is it?
Drift is a major problem. Anything that involves continuous learning, and then drift becomes particularly important to monitor, or integrity. Now, think about what it learns in the first moments versus what it needs to know over an extended period of time. And it's much like a child that's learned the wrong things and was positively reinforced when they did bad things. They become teenagers and they become unruly, right? Because they've been given a kind of free ride and learned all the wrong lessons growing up. And that's the difference between probably good parents and bad parents. Not that there's some psychology that doesn't go play into that as well, but generally speaking, reinforcement. You want to reinforce the things that are important and meaningful, and then not learn the wrong lessons from that reinforcement. Now, in a short period of time, that's not as big a deal. Something that lasts a millisecond, there's not a lot of reinforcement that's happening. It's actually a reinforcement element. But over an extended period of time, the system can potentially learn the wrong things. That's where the idea of one being able to measure the drift and being able to define that drift both in terms of where it resides as a trajectory. So remember, the system is learning in the form of these kind of trajectories that sort of allow it to navigate this kind of vector graph space. But it also has the ability to understand the bounds of which it needs to learn, and then measure that back to the min-cut algorithm as an integrity. So if it starts moving beyond or outside of the sort of key integrity of the system, then the system is alert, say, well, one, it shouldn't be, which it might be. It might be just learning that it needs to adapt and adjust based on what's presented to it. Like last week I was shorting stocks, this week I'm going long, right? The information relating to how it learned last week isn't necessarily applicable to what I'm doing this week. And the system needs to be capable enough to understand the difference between last week and this week. And when you look at systems like OpenClaw or whatever they call themselves this week, there's no drift. There's no drift in integrity. There's no min cut. There's no trajectory. It's essentially a memory. And then the memory says, here's your guidance and here's what you've done, which has no bearing on what it should do or understanding what it shouldn't do, right? And then it does dumb things like it'll accidentally leak your API keys and do other things that, oh, I just deleted all your emails because I thought I needed to delete your emails for some reason, because it doesn't understand. It doesn't reason upon its own reasoning. It's dumb. It's dumb in the most critical way. It's dumb that it doesn't understand itself. It has no
Have you ever
sense of
seen the
self.
movie Memento?
Yeah.
It's the perfect analogy.
Yes,
For agents.
Memento, and it gets collectively dumber as it goes, right? You got to watch the movie backwards for it to make any sense, right? Yeah, Memento is a really and by the way, I did a Memento app about a year and a half ago. So
Oh, you
thanks
did?
for bringing that.
Okay, we're going to dig that one up. Rube, can I show just a little example of sort of this space? So, and I'll just take a moment here. Let me grab, is it this one?
While Rob's pulling that up, Rube, are you really going long this week? If you are, you're a brave man.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm totally out of NVIDIA. Sorry, NVIDIA.
One Rube at the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
I
didn't start those big SaaS companies, although I've been talking about it for 7 months. So, yeah, you got to wear it.
SaaS, yeah, it's dead. So what do you got here, Rob?
Okay, so here's the idea. So we're working on a project with a real estate investment group down in the US. And as anybody knows who's done a real estate investment in the United States, it is highly dependent on, you've got a lot of interactions with the county clerks. And the county clerks, there's 32 to 3,600 of them right across the US. And they all have different ways and methods of giving access to information and providing information. So this is an approach that I came up with in order to refine the performance of a skill in a complex and very varied situation. So you've got a clear goal and you've got a variety of tools, but what you have to use and what combination in order to navigate the path changes. So I was sort of working through that. And for me, what I do is with the Sono learning, I tend to turn it off and turn it back on. So I run it manually a lot, and then in other processes, I have it running full tilt. So a few of the memory updates, the queue, the daemon workers in Cloudflow, I've got running perpetually, and some of them I run at instances like during commits or stuff like that. That gives me a little bit more control as far as ingraining memories that may not be perfectly aligned. So what I was looking for is I was looking for a way to quantify the skill. When I was speaking at Vancouver last week, somebody asked, okay, you got a skill, but how do you benchmark that? Claude has some suggestions, Anthropic has some suggestions on how you benchmark that and how do you improve it over time. What I did is I created a team of agents where only one of the agents is actually performing the skill. And then there's another agent that's observing the logs and the outputs and the verbose dialogue of the agent that's performing the skill. And then there's another agent that is effectively the coach who's going to clean up and that at any checkpoints interacts and course corrects. And that entire thing gets captured. And then a plan gets documented on how to harden the skill to increase the deterministic elements and ensure that the agent running through that skill is appropriately reacting to and using the memories and the learning, and also a reporting on the hooks. And it worked wonderfully. So over the course of literally 10 iterations through a handful of counties, I was able to bring up the ability and just through a team of agents, continuously improve the definitions of the skills, the sub-skills, and the tool usage in order to get closer and closer to a perfect run through, even though every county next is completely different setting. So this is, I call it meta bench. And literally it's just, so it's the team provides the outputs, it scores its iteration as it runs through the activities and the skills, measures itself, writes its own suggestions, changes the skill, and then moves on to the next iteration. And then every time it's a success, I trigger the learning.
Robert, what's the domain? You mentioned real estate, but what's the specifics of what you're trying to solve with it?
Oh, it's gathering information data that is at the county level, and how you get access to that data, publicly available data, but through mechanisms and hoops and what have you. And the counties are notorious for each having their own quirky method of distribution. So an agent has the goal, has the tools, but how does it use it in the right sequence, under what circumstances, make sure it doesn't redefine the tool, like Reuven was saying, where it gets some cockamamie idea and it thinks that's going to satisfy the goal. So this is just using the natives or the primitives of Cloud Code in the tools and the teams and the agents and the mesh topology of a swarm. One of them can conduct the mission and the other three can observe and improve. It was neat.
Rob, can I add something?
Sorry, you're muted there, Ruth.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, I want to show you something. Like, there's a project from DSpy they called MI Prove V2. It's perfect for what you're doing. The fact it's Python, we won't hold that against them. But
DSPY for skills.
Yeah, this is yeah. If you sort of take this particular, so it's basically, I think, a multi-prompt instruction proposal optimizer, and basically it's an algorithm that sort of does or might optimize what you're doing. It's worth looking at. It bootstraps a few examples. It does a proposed instruction candidates and a few other things. Now, for those that are not fans of Python, there's what I call DSPYTS, I think is what I called it. Yeah, DSPYTS. I did my own implementation of DS in TypeScript. You could point at that, but it's perfect for what you're describing. Just FYI.
I have a feature request, Rob. I have a feature request. Since you're focused on that in that area, my father-in-law is getting calls from people that want to refinance his house. He didn't ask for those calls. What has been discovered is the county won't alert you if there's been some changes to your title or any kind of problems with your house. There's an example here in Austin. A family lost a generational home, but from a builder who built a duplex. He owned the lot next door. he built a duplex. He owned A, but he built B, but he didn't own the lot on B, and the family wasn't notified until the structure was up and everything. They had to call new set.
Oh,
So the counties don't they won't notify you if there's a problem with you, and you can literally email a deed change, right? So
Yep.
or fax a deed change.
That's an incredible use case.
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's looking great.
Cool.
So, guys, I want to show you something. We got a few minutes left. I want to show you something cool. Just something I've been working on, just vibing. So, as you guys know, I'm really into the RBFs. So everyone's like, well, what the hell can you do with an RBF again? So what I was able to do, this is a single file. You can see it running here on port 5173. And this is the Hugging Face chat system, but it's running on my Roove ultra small model, and I can switch my models and whatnot. I got function and tool calling. I can do direct MCP integrations. I got Claude. I gotta activate that, but I can do Claude Flow integrations. I'm actually not running at the moment, so I can do any kind of. This is a single freaking file with a language model embedded, a vector space, a graph database, a Linux runtime, Claude Flow, and several other things I need built right in. My system's restarting it. But this is in my agent DB repo. Why is it? It's building as we speak. But regardless,
Would it work on a mobile phone?
yeah. Well, it works on mobile because it's it's the chat, the Hugging Face chat UI. So yeah, you can have it here. Let me share. Let me show you what that looks like. So basically, any data you give it, you can basically expose via the MCP. So like, if you want to chat with my whatever, my real estate data, you just basically create a environment. You can add the MCP here, and then you can then have everything sort of integrated. These models are hyper optimized. So when I run this model, I think it's running. Let's test it here. We've got the ability. Let's just say hello. So this is running in the RVF file an LLM on a CPU. Then I can train that particular LLM. In this case, my Roove LLM, ultra small or engine, and engine's optimized for coding. Small is optimized for like the domain at which it needs to be smart in. So it doesn't need to be smart at everything. It can be smart at like, what is the patient information in a dentist office, or what does the MRI mean, or how do I manage my power utility structure, and ask it who the 10th king of France was. It'll have no idea, but ask it to do that one thing, and it'll be perfectly suited for that one thing, and then I can mix and match additional smart models as needed, or in this case, just add additional MCP tools. And you can go in here, you can add new MCP tools. And this thing will run on like a watch, like including the LLM.
Where is the demo repo? Where did you say it is?
It's I can send you guys a link.
Yeah, please do.
It's part of my agent DB system. And basically it's an it's a great sort of example of the RBF. And I'm gonna find that for you right now. And I'll give you guys a link to that. I'm gonna probably push an update. But it's kind of a cool little thing. Everybody wants to chat with whatever crazy thing they're creating. So this basically gives you a quick and easy way to sort of expose whatever sits in at least my Roux vector environment in terms of data, learnings, trajectories with a voice, a mechanism to talk to it, potentially, both audibly and textually. I'm finding the link right now for you guys. Where the heck did I put that? Yeah, so interesting times we're in here. I see Tommy. Tommy, how's it going? I'm putting the spotlight on you.
Yeah, been busy lately working for some projects. Actually, cooperation with Teemu and Mikko and the others with their platform. It's very interesting to see what the guys have been cooking, and I've been on the client side in this case for them. I'm a chairman of fiber optic company, and trying to help them to. I would say that they are using ADP, so automated data processing. They are not even digital age, and we're trying to bring them to the AI age, like having a leap over the digitalization. And this has taken me a lot of time from me. I was last week in Finland, and I've been traveling a lot recently, and now back in Dubai.
Nice. Probably better weather than here in Toronto, I'm sure.
It's very nice actually. 25, 26 right now. Not too hot, not too warm. Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling jealous. Yeah, the information, the fiber optic stuff sounds really interesting, and there that kind of reminds me of this project. I'm probably talking out of school a little bit, but just while it's fresh in my brain, I'm working on this in the space generally for an electrical utility. This utility basically is aging and sort of not optimized, as you point out, using antiquated technology. So literally what I did in that particular space is I pointed RuVector, I said, use my MinCut, my deltas, and a few other tools, and tell me how much I can optimize this electrical grid, which serves like 100 million or so people, and what kind of energy savings can I do? Right off, and now we have to implement it in fairness, but right off the bat, I found 40 something percent energy savings, which in this particular scenario would be like billions of dollars.
Yeah,
I wonder what work that would do with fiber optics.
Yeah, I have similar type of thing for mobile operator where they're optimizing their radio frequencies during based on the usage and so on. That's I've been working also. It's piloting yet, but that's interesting also.
There's so much inefficiency when you look at like software that's been developed over the last few decades. It's almost like there was this minimal or the path of least resistance to build the software. Like last night I was installing Unity for my daughter on a laptop that I needed to buy just for her to do her Unity program because it's such a beast of an application. How is Unity, 25 freaking gigs of space, right? It's because it's been patchworked for 10 years of garbage on top of garbage. We're in this spot where we're suddenly we have no limits. Like, oh, I don't know, is there a driver for this particular piece of hardware? Who cares? I'm gonna create a driver for me just because I can't be bothered to go search the web and see if there's a driver for it, right?
If you think Unity's bad, wait till you get to Unreal. That's brutal.
It's unreal. Yeah.
It is unreal.
My daughter is a prolific programmer, so she's been doing her Unity stuff, which is also C#. Like, who the hell uses C#?
It is C#, yeah, and it does have some nice AI hooks in it though. They're getting into some cool stuff. So,
well, what I discovered with my daughter last night in our sort of joint programming is C# does support WASM pretty well, so we could probably take all the work that I'm doing in my sort of RuVector WASMs and just stuff it into Unity and see what kind of crazy Unity infused AI we can create.
yeah, I know the lead engineer at Magic Leap, and he's using a ton of stuff there, really cool stuff. So, yeah, they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. So, if you're interested in talking to him sometime, I could maybe get him to either come out to one of the. It's hard to get him to come out to one of the events. He's in Kitchener Waterloo area, but I might be able to get him to log in or something. But yeah.
Well, I've got a 13-year-old who's particularly excited by game development and augmented reality. So anything
Yeah,
I
he
can do
teaches
to
that. I teach a production management course in the VR program. I took the VR program at Conestoga, and he was a teacher there at the time before he went on to Magic Leap. So he comes into my course every year and does a session and shows them the AR glasses and the waveguides and all that cool stuff. So.
Oh, well, then you should check out the my Gaussian splats if you're into
Yeah, I did
VR.
see that. I did see that. I haven't dug into that, but that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gaussian splat stuff is kind of cool because you can represent a three-dimensional world in the vector space. And so basically you can visualize a kind of secondary reality that exists within this I don't know what you want to call it, latent space. That's a presentation for another day, but it's pretty out there. It's all pretty out there, to be honest.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely check it out. And yeah, we can DM or chat about if you want to meet Jordan sometime. That'd be really cool.
I love
I'm
meeting
sure.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find that repo, Roof?
Oh yeah, sorry. I've already been sidetracked. You know me, I like to packages, agent. I think I have to publish. I gotta push it.
I gotta run.
It is.
Sorry, just before the end of the show, don't forget Matt has some really cool stuff about TVMon 5 and the hackathon stuff. So I just put that sticky note on for you guys. And awesome.
Yeah,
We'll see you next week.
I've got to run pretty soon as well, but I'm just gonna push this for you folks for the chat system. I'm gonna push that quick. I haven't published it yet. I'm gonna do it right now for you. There's so much stuff, right? But this one's particularly useful. At least if you like chatting with your data. All right. And we're probably going to be. I won't be doing the vodcast next week. I'm probably going to delete that from my calendar. And if you guys want to keep doing them, maybe do them in Discord. I'll show up occasionally, but I just can't be the one leading that effort. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to also shut down. I guess I am shutting down the Agentic Tribe. We'll leave the WhatsApp channel open for those who are in there, and to the 3,000 people who are in the waiting list. Sorry. Which is crazy. There's 2,000 people on that waiting list. that's a thing.
How do we leverage all of them for the job space, for the job boards, for the resources? I mean, all of that is a huge
we're working
pipeline of activity that you could use that could really get this group moving.
We're working on that. I'll ping you right after the call, after this, and fill you in.
Okay.
Not to mention the 500,000 people who have downloaded my stuff in the last 30 days. Then that's unique. So I don't know. It's a fire hose, and I'm trying to drink from it right now, and and I'm losing. So I'd probably need some help from you folks that might be able to help run with it. All of a sudden I feel like a lot of the stuff I set in place is all taking off at the same moment, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed from it, which is making it difficult for me to get a decent night's sleep.
Rube, I'm going to propose that we do as a foundation, do a Thursday call and figure out a show, a production, or whatever. So we'll still be able to keep the cadence, providing we get enough people together to say they want to help do it and produce it. So we'll figure something out. That's
we've got the calendar invite. It is on Agent now anyway. Yeah. And we also have the whole community CB radio thing where people can make a suggestion as to something that they want to talk. So if we hand that slot over to suggestions, we can, I think, happily do that. I mean, I think there's so many people here with great ideas, and even things that people want to hear about. There are plenty of people who can answer it. So if we can marry the people who want something with those that can provide it, that's good.
Point is, we got your back. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to run with the time slot and the brand, by all means. I just can't show up every week and do 2 hours on
that's fair enough.
Too much. Yeah.
But you're still going to be here Fridays.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here on Fridays. This is it. We'll put our effort into this, and at least my effort. Maybe we'll do up the last half hour while I'll do some podcasting style. Maybe if I know everyone likes that, so I'm happy to try to fit. We'll change up the structure slightly.
Okay.
And I saw Richard, you mentioned that. Yeah, I'll take a look at I'll take a look at if there's a security issue, I'll fix it. But there's a new version of Agentic Flow. Literally, I'm really close to hitting send on. So I'll just double check your PR and make sure that that's addressed in any security issues.
That'd be awesome. Do you have a time for root flow? Any idea when you think you're going to push root flow?
Well, remember, so Agent DB's out. It's been downloaded 10,000 times, and there wasn't really anyone complaining too much. So I'm going to move that from alpha to latest. And then I'm pushing Agentic Flow here this afternoon. I'm going to let that percolate probably a few days and see how many people complain or what issues show up. At which point, then I'll integrate Agent or Agentic Flow into Cloudflow. I pushed an update to Cloudflow Rootflow yesterday that includes the new Agent DB capabilities. So what I'm probably going to do later today is actually rename the repo Rooflow, and I'm going to start promoting sort of the MPX RUFLO as the key installation. I'm keeping all the old Cloudflow npm wrappers as well. One of the benefits the way I built this stuff is I use wrappers, right? You're all multiple sub parts of the actual distribution, like the at Cloudflow / whatever. So it makes changing this stuff super easy and mixing and matching. Yeah, again, the Anthropic guys have never actually really reached out to me, period, which is weird. But um,
They're
so I
very
can't say
difficult to
that.
get a hold of, even though they're based with a huge cluster here in Seattle. They don't respond to anybody very well.
Yeah, so they haven't complained about the use of Claude. I'm not doing it because of that. It was time to sort of relabel it. After a while, it's just like I've got a naming convention. Rue and Rust works together, and anyway, that's
They may complain when you stop using Claude. Maybe they feel it's enhancing their end.
I don't think they need enhancement. I think they're feeling pretty good at this point. I don't know. I'm just I think as I transfer to more of a corporate structure with the launch of Cognitum, I don't want to jeopardize, and I don't want a lawsuit right away if I can help it. So that seems like something I need to plug before. So I'm gonna do that before the third when we incorporate.
Hey,
One last
Ruben,
thing, Richard. What's the PR that you're referring to? Do you have a number? I can fix that up.
just let me grab that right quick. And while that happens, Ruben, I know, sorry to jump in here, Ruben, but I know yesterday
sure,
and
go
yesterday's
ahead.
call, there was a lot of enthusiasm about having some type of shared knowledge and collaboration based on some of the learnings with like root vector
I built
centers.
that.
Was
Yeah.
that exported and shared?
It's built and launched because where the heck did I put that? It's called, what the heck did I call it? Federation? Too much stuff.
Yeah, I know. I think Jed was mentioning that we should do a federated, version to contribute bidirectionally.
Yeah, I did launch that. I'll have to dig that out. My repo is becoming unruly. It's hard to find stuff at this point. But yeah, the works I deployed it to Google. I just need to give you instructions on how to use it. And what that does is creates an anonymous federated learning system where we all contribute to a central intelligence and then can learn from that intelligence and use that in the things we're building. Am I describing that?
Beautiful. Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah, so it's done and tested and deployed. It's in my backlog. It's kind of I could probably find it right now. Just give me a sec.
That brings up an interesting point. Is there a way for us to see what you're hitting the day you're hitting it? Is there an easy way to subscribe to everything you publish?
GitHub. Yeah,
GitHub RootNet.
Yeah, GitHub RootNet.
Okay, that's what I'm using.
You gotta follow. You gotta follow me.
Yep, I do.
Here it is. This is RVF Federation. And again, I built it against Google Cloud because it's easy, and you can see the ADR if you're curious. So I'm stripping the PII. I'm injects differential privacy noise so you can't be reverse engineered. Package transferable. I use RVF segments. Yeah, I'm using the ED251, and I've included the quantum resistance because why not? And by the way, my quantum simulator, I was able to hit 70 qubit simulation, which means certain forms of encryption I am now able to crack, just as an FYI. They're basic encryptions, they're not 256 SHA, but I would not suggest using anything below 128 for any reason at this point. So we got yeah. So this is it. This is what we discussed yesterday. And
Ruth, does this version include the 6 gigs prior knowledge that you were transferring also?
I'm going to.
Okay.
What this doesn't include is how to access my hosted version of it. This is just if you want to create your own federation. And then this allows you to do that, and it's basically creating a shared brain. The important part here is I'm stripping PII and adding noise. Now I'm adding noise again so it can't be kind of decompiled and used against whoever's using it. Ask Claude what I built. It's probably your best bet. But this was a direct output of yesterday's call. And if you need a UI, maybe I should just add. Then you can point. I used MCP, so there's an MCP interface for all this. So all you need, if you want to plug into the Hive, if you will, all you need to do is add the MCP. I got to publish the Google Google addresses, so I got to find a domain or something to put it on. But that all works. It's all done. I was building it while I was sleeping last night, I guess. All right, I guess this is it. I'm gonna take a breather for my next call. Any last thoughts from anyone? Anything?
Ruve, I just posted I put the pull request in the chat. It's 117.
Yep. I'll make sure that anything you've got outlined in that, I probably won't be able to use your PR, but I will incorporate the changes or updates. And I apologize. I know a lot of people are like, why don't you ever accept my PRs? I've had run-ins with people putting like backdoors and malware and other things. Not that any way you guys are doing it, but it's just tricky right now. And the other thing, some of the PRs I get are like 7,000 freaking files. So if you do a PR, keep it small, keep it targeted, keep it narrow. Right, it makes it a lot easier for me to. But the 7,000 file change PRs, I'm just going to straight up reject.
Is anyone going to be in San Francisco next week for the Unprompted AI Security Conference?
Nope, I'm not. I don't leave my house, but
all right, no worries.
We should, but Barry, I think was on earlier. If you know, I think you know him. He's been talking about. Oh, you're still here. You are.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just in the woods.
Yeah, you're in the proximity, right?
Yeah.
You should throw together some agentic beers or something next week.
Yep. We're also we're kicking off a Seattle online session for the initial sort of get together of all the collaborators in the Seattle area on the 14th, and then we'll be doing a live session for the Seattle chapter 2 weeks later.
All right. Looks like I am going to be able to accept your PR, Richard.
Very nice.
Give yourself a little extra GitHub cred there for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate whenever anyone gives me an issue or PR. It's obviously there's too much for me to see. All right. Till next week. Thanks, everyone. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Good weekend.
Okay.